Yeah, we're coming for you, Ryan Toy Reviews. You're out of here.
Oh my gosh. Hey, welcome to the Create Unknown. I am Kevin Lieber. With me, as always, is Matthew Tabor. And today, we are joined by YouTube OG, that stands for Original Gangsters, for everyone who's not a boomer listening to this right now, Justin Silverman, who is the production manager at Screenwave Media, as well as producer on Cinemassacre, best known for the Angry Video Game Nerd series. So welcome, Justin. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We are good. You are a guy who wears a lot of hats, and you know, we haven't had anyone on this show yet who is a producer on a YouTube channel. Literally, we haven't talked to a single producer, and that's why I just wanted to get a fresh perspective on what it's like to kind of be behind the scenes, behind the camera, bringing one of the most popular, longest lasting, like legacy YouTube shows of all time to life still, you know, in 2020. When we talked to Pat Contry about, you know, his channel and Pat the NES Punk, and I was doing video game comedy, I mean, I had mentioned that Angry Video Game Nerd was one of the first things, along with like Chad Vader and Blame Society Films, that really got me to think, like, wow, this YouTube thing is really cool. Like, I want to do this too.
Yeah, I mean, I think James and Cinemassacre also inspired my own, you know, kind of things back in the day, because I saw the first AVGN episode that I ever saw was the Ninja Turtles one in like 2006. But, you know, I came on board doing producing and editing stuff for the channel in like 2017, and had been doing more producing and everything at Screenwave, which is a multi-channel network and game publisher and a few other things since 2015. But before that, I was doing YouTube since like 2010, and I think I met you along the way in that area. But yeah, it's been going pretty good. Yeah, I guess James is definitely the OG of this entire thing. I just kind of been along for the ride.
I think he's on the Mount Rushmore as far as I'm concerned.
Probably. I mean, up until 2012, I think Cinemassacre, James Nintendo Nerd, the channel, was like the top 10 of YouTube by subscribers and views and all that stuff. But after, you know, a lot of stuff happened, like he started working on the movie, and you had things happening with the gaming world where like Game Grumps and Let's Play started getting bigger and badder. So, you know, and so many people started doing more YouTube, being inspired by people like that, you know, I don't know where it lands now, but, you know, everything's still going pretty well.
He pops up all the time when people talk about what's the first channel you got into? What's the earliest thing that you really remember? And there are like two answers to that question. A bunch of one-off things, you know, where people remember the kind of one-hit wonders on YouTube. And then hardly any who had a long series, a long show. And most everybody who had those back in the day, they've flamed out, moved on to other things. They lost their popularity, whatever it was. Yeah. And so it's awesome that you say, you know, what it's been like 3 years, something like that you've been directly involved over there. But it was 10 or 12 years at that point, right? Yeah. That the show had gone on. And it's kind of remarkable that he's evolved and changed a bunch of ways and all of that. So it's pretty cool to hear people bring up this thing. It's sort of like an Elvis level thing where you've got the 50s Elvis and the 68 comeback special Elvis. And then he's got like the jumpsuit in the 70s and his Vegas Elvis, and is growing in popularity.
Well, I'm glad to be here for the Elvis on the toilet stage of Cinemassacre.
I was going to say, yeah, where's like the choking on a ham sandwich?
Yeah, James
Rolfe
shooting
episode.
a TV.
Yeah.
Shooting a TV.
So
yeah.
what we're trying to say is that James has a severe eating and drug problem that nobody knew about until this podcast. So
Who doesn't?
that's us. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you though about when you and I met, because did you you were doing Underbelly in 2010, 2011 when you and I first met?
I guess we'll go way back. I guess we'll go over the whole story. I think I met James when I was in college in 2004. I was at Rutgers, Camden, doing film stuff in Camden, New Jersey. He was across the river at UArts. He was a senior. I was a freshman. He'd pop by different things we were doing, like film festivals, all that stuff, but we didn't know much about YouTube, and like it was kind of played down. At that point, if you wanted to make something, you had to make an indie film and put it into festivals, and it was like a disaster. So YouTube changed all that. Flash forward several years, I was working at NFL Films as a, where they do all the football videos and stuff, as an editor, and I started getting into camera stuff, but with the financial crisis of 2008 and stuff, they pretty much let all their freelancers and everyone go, or made everyone seasonal, and it was a disaster. So, I pretty much saw what James was doing and others, so I decided to make my own YouTube channel, which is called Underbelly, which we had we had some pretty popular videos back in the day, a lot of gaming stuff. We were probably one of the first groups that was putting like actual voice actors into their own cosplay of their characters and filming them and stuff like that. And that's where we got hooked up with Screw Attack, and I met James again, and we'd borrow each other's props and talk and all that. Eventually, we hopped from Screw Attack to Next New Networks that started with Michael, that started Vsauce. And I believe Vsauce originally, as it was told to us, was supposed to be like a collaboration channel, or almost like its own little sub network of all these different channels, including Underbelly. I think it was also Andre from Black Nerd Comedy, and also Screen Team, and someone else. And then it just, after Next New Networks turned into YouTube Next Labs, and they got bought out, and Google bought it was like a whole mess. We were kind of cast on our merry way. And then they started making the other, like Vsauce 2 and 3, after Michael grew the Vsauce brand a lot. And we collaborate. We were still working with Michael and Vsauce for a while. And then we eventually went with Maker Studios and the Game Station, and our own thing kind of fell apart. I started doing a channel called Silvermania, which was definitely very hate-fueled and shitposty. And then eventually I cut the crap, decided to be an adult, I guess, and started working at Screenwave, the MCN, mostly for retro gaming at first, and now into animation, all the other stuff we do. And then I've just kind of been doing that since. And when I heard that Ryan Schott, who's the president, and also like I don't think Cinemassacre would have ever made money without Ryan kind of monetizing it through apps and websites and all that kind of stuff back in the day. He pretty much was like, hey, James is kind of feeling some burnout from all this kind of stuff. Can you guys help this, that? So we started kind of helping with editing here and there, video stuff. And now we're, pretty much helping completely from scripting to down the line. And now we have videos out 3 days a week, different shows, and we get, it's going well. So that's pretty much the story. And hopefully it doesn't end there, but, we're still working on stuff every day. But
sorry, I want to back up a second. Who is Ryan?
Sure.
Who is Ryan?
Ryan Schott. He is the president of Screenwave Media.
Oh, okay. And James has been with Screenwave for a while now, or
since it pretty much, I think like 2015 or 16, whenever the contract with Maker expired, Maker Studios, they came, finally be with us. But there's been a relationship between Ryan and James and Mike for years before, where they would do merch and websites and ads and things like that, apps for before before YouTube became monetizable.
Oh, so he was finding ways before the partner program way back in the day.
Oh yeah, including the game trailers and MTV and all that stuff. So that a lot of that happened back in the day. Ryan's always been more of the business of, James always been way more of the creative, and Mike as well. So, and me, I mainly do the, production and scheduling and that kind of stuff.
And how is he, because the whole burnout thing is something that we've talked about with a lot of creators a million times, and Matt and I just amongst ourselves, and ways to, mitigate that. How is James, how did he take to you coming on board and putting out more content, but that content is being, facilitated by actually having people help you make it?
I think it helped that he was already connected with Screenwave and also connected with Ryan and knew me from back in the day. And we did some test episodes and other videos together before, so it kind of like worked out slowly and then quickly became quicker and quicker and quicker till, after like episode 140, when you're already in that range of those kind of that show, you start needing some more help.
Probably before then.
Yeah.
It jumps out at me. Two things jump out at me. The first one is how useful it is to meet somebody way back in the day. You never know what that's going to turn into.
Yeah.
You've got to just do a million things and talk to everybody and get to know them, because the odds of crossing paths later on are just a lot higher.
That's definitely something that a lot of people nowadays need to learn, when people very quickly cancel each other or go after each other or that kind of environment, which, I did a lot of burning bridges from 13 to 15, which I've been, rebuilding, I guess, over the last few years successfully. But I think a lot of people are so quick to just kick people out of their lives or not give people a chance or whatever. And, I can see that being a problem. Mind you, a lot of it's just, and a lot of people are out of control too, but I don't know. We live in very interesting times, and it's interesting to see how the YouTube thing worked out from 2006 to when it became monetizable to now. Because a lot of it's crazy. And, at the end of the day, we're middle of the road YouTubers in terms of like these giant, big people and people just trying it out. Like, I think, the number one career choice for kids in middle school is YouTuber now. In China, it's astronaut, just to give you a...
I saw that tweet. I saw that tweet.
It might be fake.
I didn't like that tweet because I thought to myself, I replied, I said, you know what? God forbid that these kids want to be creatively fulfilled and entrepreneurs when they grow up. There are worse things than that.
They're adding the A to STEM. It's STEAM. Is that the kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, dude. Listen, I graduated with an art degree. It sucks.
There's a sufficient amount of time though for people like us who, like, we all came in the same era basically. You're talking about what James was doing, what you were doing you said it was Rutgers, Camden, yeah?
Yeah, Rutgers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was about the same time we were doing similar stuff. Kevin and I were, so we're in the same bracket, and it's finally been long enough. It's been that like 20 years to circle back with some of those people. And that's what I think a lot of the newer people are missing. Like, they haven't had sufficient time to see the networking and the people and the opportunities play out. Jake from Vsauce 3 was talking about how he met Casey Neistat back in the day before either one was considering anything YouTube
before
related.
YouTube existed.
I don't even know if it was around that same time where you meet a guy and you do some projects with him, and that's cool, and you continue to know him, and eventually they worked on a pretty big thing. That was really cool. But there's no substitute for that time. So what do you do? How do you tell somebody who started their channel in 2018 and they've grown this good fan base, maybe they've got a couple 100,000 subs and a lot of people watch their videos. Like, how do you impress upon these people who have not experienced the two things that jumped at me when you started talking about your path? Number one, the people coming back around and having that develop over the years. And number two, working with other people. Like, that's such a foreign concept to so many YouTubers. And you get successful people who have just done all of their own shooting, editing, everything.
Yeah, you pretty much
not the way forward.
Have three types of YouTubers. I don't know what the percentages are, but you have people that are a really good, solid team, and they get it. Guys like when Linus Tech Tips was full steam and all that, like stuff like that. You have the people who are single creators, who are doing it all on their own, and sometimes they get help, but generally they get help from other smaller creators that want to be them, and there's a lot of fighting back and forth between that and how much they make, and then you're doing that. And then pretty much you just have the third where I guess at that point you're just doing it all by yourself. And that's probably the most, I guess, in terms of going from the least burnout to the most, when you start spreading that across to most people. Because right now on Cinemassacre, we have 1, 2, 3, like 7 people working on it. Some part-time, some doing this, some for freelance art, some editing, things like that. But, it's like 5 people's full-time jobs. It's my full-time job if you count 40 hours a week, but I work way more hours a week. So,
That's always the funniest thing to me, when I still get tweets and comments from people that say, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like,
what don't I
everything
do?
all day.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you noticed, but that whole like Vsauce 2 thing kind of takes up a lot of time. I'm not like, it's not like I'm moonlighting as Vsauce 2 while I'm like preparing taxes all day as a CPA. It doesn't really work that way. When you're outlining the different types of YouTubers, one thing that stood out to me is this crop of, I don't know what you would call it, but like production companies that now are YouTube channels that kind of didn't exist, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I mean,
look at Corridor Digital, look at even guys who have been around forever, like Mega 64, where they kept getting other people and doing things, and now have a big merch business and work with, AAA game companies and stuff like that. Some people do it like they have a production company and then they start doing YouTube, or they do this or do that. In the similar vein of either you have a really strong personality and then you become a creator, or you become a creator and you luck into it and then you have to make a personality. So there's a lot of different roads to get here, I guess.
Yeah, like even like Hot Ones, that's owned by like Complex or some gigantic media company. It's not like Sean Evans got his buddies together with some hot wings and like called up, Snoop Dogg because he knows him.
I didn't know like where Hot Ones came from. I tried researching it one day because I'm like, oh, is this like an offshoot of the gaming one that they had? What was that called? They had like the gaming, you eat like hot peppers and you like review games and stuff. I thought one of them left and then started this one, or someone ripped the idea off. Like it's very weird.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. No, I don't think that that's the same people at all. Yeah, like the Hot Pepper Gaming thing.
That's it.
Wasn't that Aaron Hansen that did that? Ego Raptor?
He might have been part of that, but he has a huge company now and a touring company and a bunch of other stuff. Like they really pivoted from the Let's Play stuff and really figured it out. So that happens a lot too. Is you're doing animation stuff, and then now you have to do a bunch of Let's Plays because that's what YouTube wants you to do to make money. And now you have all this income, so you can start hiring people. And hey, and guess what? All your buddies need to go on tours, or hey, we need to do this or that. So sometimes you luck into that, or even us at Screenwave, like we had all these talented gaming people. So like, hey, we can probably make our own games. We know who to give them to, So sometimes you go down different avenues like that.
So at what point does somebody need you?
Well,
at what point do you think somebody should get a Justin Silverman in their life? Even if it's not full-time, but just somebody to do some of the things that you do.
Well,
when does the channel hit that?
From birth, I guess. I mean, that sounds fucking weird. Never mind. I don't know. I'm really good at. I don't think there's many people that do what I do, just because have my hands on so many stupid different things. I think most channels can use an extra pair of hands editing. I think that's really important. But a lot of people are kind of control freaky and don't want to trust someone else to their stuff. Especially if that person's going to use some footage that they shouldn't have put in something later, because that happened, I think, recently with another. What was it? The video where the girl was kicking her dog or something like that. Like, so stuff like that happens. A lot.
Yeah.
So
a streamer or something. Didn't she throw her dog or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I definitely think because I came from a production background and just growing up being a gaming movie guy, and then decided, hey, I'll just talk about what I know and that's it. But now a lot of people just see this stuff growing up as like this is their content, and then they try and make the same thing. So it's a little different. To use someone like me in what you're doing, you probably need like, I don't know, like a at least there's no like bar like 500K subscribers, and these, it's like the YPP program, but you get me showing up at your door. But I definitely think extra helps. Like if you're ever feeling burnout in a certain area, you can easily put that onto something else. But trouble is, then you're dealing with, now you're paying people and you're doing payroll, and most YouTubers don't know anything about taxes. There's that.
No, we heard Mr. Beast in that interview on H3. It was a surprise to him that when he started giving away tons of money, the recipients of that money were responsible to the IRS as having received a gift of a certain amount. And like, he'd never even considered that you couldn't just give somebody like $30,000 and then everybody's happy. And he talked about that being a bit of a revelation, but that's reality, isn't it?
That's kind of tough, because then you have these YouTubers. Let's say there's this crop of middle schoolers that are trying to be YouTubers, but all they know about YouTube is, hey, Mr. Beast gave away $2 million. I want to do that. I can do that by being generous doing that, not understanding taxes or like that. This entire thing with Mr. Beast is kind of gaming the system through, not clickbait, but like people are watching it for that reason, because this country has an unhealthy obsession with being rich and everyone being a millionaire, when that's not the case. Everyone, strive for, or strive for 50,000 a year kind of a thing. I don't know. It's tough.
I was in a creator like Twitter DM group where I was the old man trying to give advice on like taxing and like, what do I do? I have these taxes. How do I do it? Like, who do I talk to? Like that basic level of advice.
That's what's helpful at Screenwave is we handle a lot of that stuff for Cinemassacre or other YouTube channels where we have paid employees. We're doing the taxes. We're doing the laws. We have the legal counsel. We have the health insurance. We have this, and that, because we've had to build it for ourselves. So, and I know there's a lot of groups out there that are trying to bring that or unionize gaming or YouTube or any of that stuff. And a lot of people don't really understand the laws, especially in California, which is messy. We're happily planted in Pennsylvania, so that's good for different reasons. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of these people don't know that are outside of like, just the social, like, fighting on Twitter and how to make a video and all that.
It sounds like Screenwave is actually providing value. Like, to me, these networks, like the MCNs, the multi-channel networks that have come and gone over the years, always seemed so predatory to me. It was always like, sign away your life and we'll own everything and we'll pretty much do nothing, but we'll promise that you'll make more money somehow. But actually you won't. And it seems like Screenwave and hopefully there are other companies now that are actually looking out for creators and helping them.
Well, what helps about Screenwave, it was a creator-made thing. For and by, I guess. It's still privately owned. The trouble with Maker and all these is, they get so bloated because pretty much the main thing MCNs do is, you sign your channel with them and then YouTube will pay you between them. So you're kind of like a middleman. You take the money and you dole it out to the people, and then you take a percentage of, like whatever, back in the day there were like 60-40 splits. And now you see mostly 80-20 to 95-5 splits depending on the network. Some are 100-0, which is kind of crazy. And that's what happened to MatPat, is he signed with Defy, I believe, for a 100-0 contract, meaning all the money that he makes, YouTube gives to Defy, who then gives to him 100% of, and then Defy gets to put him in like brand deals and all these other ways to make money. But what Defy was doing was putting it into a big sack with all the other creators to show how much money they have, and then selling the company of, hey, we're a $20 million company. See all this money we have? Selling it and then running off scot-free like a few people. Like that kind of happened to Maker and a few other places. Or they show how big and bad they are like that. Someone like Disney goes, wow, that's a lot of money, buys them out and realizes, these people are like, some of them are problem makers. Some of them, like, when they're not making as much money, they're bleeding. This is bad. We just got to scrap it and sell it. Screw it. And that happened to most of the big MCNs.
Kevin and I were talking the other day about, it's a little bit of an offshoot on what you were saying, where you can be in that situation where money is maybe somewhere you don't know where it is and you're not certain what's happening. And by the time you find out how that's working, you're generally in a bad spot.
Yes.
And you may have trouble getting that money at all. But we were talking about how important it is in contracts to have a review, to have an audit of sorts of your account with those people. Usually you can get one like every 12 months or something like that. And I don't know very many people who take advantage of that and use it, but there's no shame in having the place open up your part of the books to you for your inspection periodically, so you can identify one of those problems before it hits. And it's so easy to trust that things are going the way they should. And I mean, it's even hard to conceive of some of the quirky ways these people route their money, right? And so it's a total offshoot thing, but we were just talking about how important it is to take advantage of that and not feel like a jerk for doing it. You know, you're not a bad person for saying, hey, let's go over how this actually works, because I'm contractually entitled to view that process and it's healthy for me to do it. You know, it feels a little weird. It's sort of like, you know, if you had like once a year, you could go through your boyfriend's or girlfriend's phone and like read all the texts. You know, it's got that weird greasy feeling to it,
right?
But it's not like that. You know, it's a lot more normal. It's really an accounting thing.
Yeah, I think that we have a strong business and also friendly relationship with a lot of the channels and creators and people, because we also have like an agency and brand deals, and from our indie game devs that work with us, we're very, very transparent. And that's very well into our contracts. We say, hey, make sure to have like one of your own lawyers or accountants look at this. Like, it's very, you know, it's kind of a race to get as many channels. It was like kind of like a YouTube space race, as it were, arms race, I guess, that left a lot of companies broken, left people hiding in the Philippines, which are still active. I don't want to like, you know, blow up any other YouTube networks, but it's just kind of like somewhere a little iffy.
Well, Bart Baker ran away to China. Right? Wasn't he? What was that involved in, like the Maker blow up? Because I know he was with Maker, and I don't know his story. Do you know his story?
A lot of people went to different tax shelters. Yeah, I remember when that happened, because we were with Maker kind of at the tail end, and I had a lot of friends that you know, jumped ship from there and went to other places like Machinima or whatever, and or Full Screen, and a lot of those things have their own issues as well. But yeah, I'm not sure the full story of what happened with Maker, but I know it was messy. I think all these things had Fire Festival levels of issues going on by the end, because you had these people that kind of didn't know what they're doing, start this big company and get all this money, and it's kind of rough.
Wasn't Defy the company that screwed over Smosh?
Maybe. I know Alloy. The trouble is, they're all like all the names they kind of mix in. I don't really remember, but there's only a few left. Screenwave's probably the biggest independent one, and we're mainly boutique network to Google, who sees us as, you know, because we talk to them like our YouTube reps like many times a week. It's not like we don't, you know, so that's a helpful service we provide too. And channels get taken down, especially if YouTube have limited ads and all the stuff that's going on there with COPA and all that stuff. You need someone to get your back sometimes. So
yeah, I just remember that Smosh overnight was all of a sudden like, hi, we're out of business, I guess. So
yeah, a lot of these, a lot of these production companies, or even, I mean, a similar situation would happen if, let's say, Screenwave went down, because then you'd start losing members who are working on Cinemassacre every day, and similar situation. But imagine if like a 200, you know, 1,000% of your production is into another company that just goes belly up. You're done. And that's kind of what happened there. And, you know, it's tough.
And then Mythic bought them, I'm pretty sure.
I think they're doing okay now, but then like like a lot of the bigger ones who kind of survive the channels have, you know, diverse themselves enough to where now they can absorb other people and make like little clicks and little companies, and that's kind of what's going on. And mind you, they get like big brand deals and they're doing very well from the sales, but then they have to employ like 25, 50 people, stuff like that.
You mentioned, or it's hard to talk about an issue like this without throwing channels and people and companies under the bus.
Yeah,
that makes it really tough to do properly. And you talked about burning bridges, you know, years ago. Can we, as the three of us, commit to burning one bridge on this podcast today? A brand new bridge? Can we just burn?
Well, I was going to burn the bridge to you guys, but you know,
it's been a little too long for me since I've gotten the flamethrower out for that kind of thing, and I thought, well, if we do it together, it won't be that bad.
Well, all we've talked about so far are companies that don't exist anymore. So
yeah, I kind of feel bad about, you know, the situation, but you know, with us,
that's the climate that we've all lived in, though.
There's something, what we've been talking about a lot is change. And YouTube's been changing since day one and when it looked and how it looked then to how it looks now and how it went from, guys filming at the zoo and trying to make a video platform for everyone being owned by one of the largest companies on earth, controlled by an AI that does things that are very positive.
wait, Matt. So what bridge do you want to burn?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't have in one mind. I don't have one in mind, but I'm hoping that one of you two does. That there's just one you wanted to. Oh,
it'll be like a wrestling promo. It'll be like, "Hey, brother, screw this guy." I don't know.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah, we're coming for you, Ryan. Toy Reviews. You're out of here.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen the amount of Ryan's Toy Reviews toys that are in Walmart? It's incredible.
They had to, with Copa, they had, for all that stuff coming up, which they probably knew about way before, they had to just go right to selling shit.
Oh, good point. We had...
they got out in front of that, didn't they? Wow, I hadn't really put that together, but they did a nice job of getting a head start on that.
Or look at something like Little Baby Bum, because that was the YouTube war of 2014, like 17. It was these kids channels that came out of nowhere and took over everything, and then instantly in like a day were all gone.
The ones with like pregnant Elsa and Spider-Man? Yeah,
a lot of that, like more of the predatory type videos, or like, and then eventually went into like the Daddy of 5 type, like families that were just abusing their kids to get YouTube clout and all that, and and now it's kind of mellowed out a little bit. There's a lot of checks and balances in the system now, like people that make reactionary videos or the Twitter mafias and things like that, where it's kind of hard to kind of scam the system anymore. And YouTube's pretty good at that, with making sure that a lot of channels are on the up and up, but sometimes if you slip through, I guess.
Well, they instituted new quality ratings or something like that. Like they added a whole thing to their algorithm that has to do with like quality content signifiers or something. I don't know. Didn't Coffee Break talk about that when we talked to him?
When we talked to Coffee Break, that was when the P-score thing had dropped, where each video and channel were assigned that mysterious P value that could go up and down several times a day, with advertiser suitability and this vague quality rating thing. And because we talked about at that point, it was possible to go into the source code of the dashboard and see what your P value was, and they closed that loophole very, very quickly. It took them like 48 hours. But you could look up other channels too, I guess. And so they were just comparing kind of suitability. And I remember talking about how I was talking to a bunch of commentary type guys, and that's such a volatile space that their ratings were quite low compared to something like Michael with Vsauce. He hadn't put out a video in a while at that point, but his rating was very high, and you knew that content was going to get served constantly. There were no hitches and no speed bumps with that whole process, where the guys with the low scores were deemed to have questionable quality videos. I know all their videos. They're good stuff. You've got to be into it. It's got to be your thing to want to watch it. But it's not anything inherently bad about production or content. Nothing on that. But they were still getting hammered on this score because this little equation decided that their quality was different.
Yeah, I mean, the algorithm in YouTube's job is to get as many people as possible to watch video for as long as possible and keep their advertisers happy. And then they assign you different CPMs and P-scores and all that stuff to, however they want to do that to keep it wrangled. Because mind you, it's the biggest... on the other side, it's also the biggest platform in the world for you can upload whatever you want. Anything. And they have to have so many systems checks so you don't upload this porn, or you don't do this, or you don't that. Maybe they went a little too far here and there constantly, but it's still, unfortunately, the best place to, broadcast yourself, as they say. And yeah, they definitely give more love to well-established things or celebrities. And I'm ready to burn that bridge against Will Smith. Because, he made a song for Wild Wild West and Men in Black, but not Independence Day. What the hell was that?
That's why you're burning.
Imagine that song.
That's why
just steal another Stevie Wonder song and just make it an Independence Day song. I don't know.
Yeah, and it could replace the Star Spangled Banner as like a national anthem.
Oh, after the fact, that's a good idea. But then they made a resurgence, and the whole Independence Day thing kind of fell apart. But yeah,
that's a big one. I mean, it takes serious balls to go up against a famous YouTuber like Will Smith.
That's hot. That's hot.
YouTube Rewind. That's perfect.
I want to switch gears for a second because there's another thing that you're involved with that no one else that we've spoken with is, and I just would love to hear more about the convention scene. So
sure.
You're involved with a convention called Too Many Games,
mm-hmm.
Which is a retro gaming convention that takes place every year. How many years now?
Several. I think it started in something like 2002 in different names and forms and iterations, but it's probably been it's been in the same venue now since about 2011, and I started there being on board as a volunteer in 2012. So this would be my I think my 9th rodeo this year. So.
And what's your role? You just go there and volunteer your time and help set things up or organize
I guess
things?
I'm staff now, but mostly event management. I mean, because in the there's a kind of a connection between Screenwave Media and Too Many Games because the two owners of that convention work here, including Ryan Schott. So, we're working on most of my jobs, working on Cinemassacre, and then of course all my Screenwave stuff, getting everything pumped out here. But then I also, especially in the end of June, working on the Too Many Games convention, which is getting more into. It was probably the largest retro video game convention in the country, up there with stuff like Portland Retro and things like that. But it's kind of pivoting to modern gaming. We got to have a Fortnite dance contest and, probably the biggest Smash Brothers tournament in the state, I'm guessing, the Smash Philadelphia. And, we have like cosplay wrestling in a real ring. We have big concerts. We have a big console area, arcades, panels, the whole, probably one of the largest marketplaces, like retro games and all that stuff. That's still very big. And I know you've been there. I believe. And, but yeah, we do that. And that helps because we have with the Screenwave ties, we have like a big party there for our partners and other YouTube people. We bring out the guests. Like this year, we have David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake, and also Mario, Charles Martinet. So, that's kind of good because then we can also then poach these people into new videos with them and all that stuff. So we like doing that as well. Like last year, after Too Many Games, we brought like 12 or so YouTubers and shot a bunch of videos that we could use for the rest of the year for the Reno review show on Cinemassacre. So that's good. But yeah, it's just been, I consider Too Many Games to be a smaller thing I do, but it's growing because now that company itself has full-time employees as well and warehouse space and all these different things. So, but that's a lot of fun to do. And I go to a lot of conventions, maybe 2 to 3 a month, on a weekend.
2 to 3 a month?
Yeah. Sometimes some are same weekends, but, sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less a month, but it's never less than 2.
About
I was
what?
I was just at Astronomicon in Detroit, which is a pop culture convention run by the Magic Ninja guys with Twisted. You remember, they used to be on ICP.
Yeah.
So now there's like a Juggalo horror monster convention in Detroit. So we run their video game and registration area as Too Many Games, and we meet a lot of people there. Let's see.
Wait, do you wear Juggalo face makeup?
I should. Man, what do they call that? There's like a name. I don't know. No, but they seem nice.
Would you rather have 10 Cinemassacre fans or 100,000 mainstream fans?
What do you mean?
Oh, that's a Juggalo thing.
Oh yeah, they're really big on family and Fago, and there's actually a water park in this building, so that was always fun. But it's also in Detroit, and I don't know. But that's a great show. But I was there a few weeks ago, and now I have to go to what's next week? PAX East is next week. Yep. That's our biggest show, so we have a huge booth there, and we're going to show games at Screenwave on the floor. That's usually in April, but now it's in next week, so it's probably going to snow, and I sorry if anyone's listening from Boston, but I hate Boston. The roads, it's a mess.
Matt knows all about that. Matt lived there for a while.
Yeah, I was there probably 5 years, and you're right that just things stop being fun from like November to April.
And then the goddamn Teamsters at the convention center are always on us. Like,
is that where it is at the Heinz Convention Center?
No, it's at the. I think this is in Mill City. It's at the BCEC. The whatever the biggest one is that's there now. I don't know. Like 100,000 people show up to this damn thing, but
yeah.
You know,
So that's just a mess to get down to.
Yeah, and we bring a truck up from Philly with all the stuff that we need for the booth and stuff, and those guys eye us up, and they see someone in an Eagles jersey or something, and then it's a problem.
Wow.
So you gotta get out, and you gotta be like, and they're like, "Hey, what's your problem?" You're like, "I don't know, buddy. I'm just trying to park my fucking truck here." You know, like you gotta go under the radar.
Pull out the Peter Griffin impersonation.
Or you're gonna get run down by a forklift. Like it's like doing the convention stuff's kind of a hard gig. I mean, not if you're PlayStation, because then they just deliver everything, build it for you, and then you show up. But that costs like $2 million. We are very like something that compares. Our too many games in Screenwave and all these operations. We keep our budgets way down. So, I'm moving pallets, like, and then I'm filming stuff, and then I'm meeting people, and then I'm doing this, then I'm doing that. So, that's kind of how you have to do things. And then there's other conventions in LA and Dallas and Florida. Like I'm all, I don't know. I got a lot of flight miles.
But this is all for Screenwave.
Use.
This isn't like your personal time going to these conventions, because that's what I thought when you first said that. You're like, I go to all these conventions.
No.
God, how much stuff are you a fan of? Because that's pretty intense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I don't go to conventions on my own merit. I go to so many for this. There's no point. Example, like you see, I'm like this big movie gaming guy. I don't have any like games at my house. Everything's at the office. When I go home, it's just like separate it completely kind of a thing. So I don't have like a game room or like a movie vault or any of that, or posters hanging everywhere. I got all on my stupid office at work, so, like where we actually built a video store and a game store in our basement and have arcades and crap like that. And it's all great until you electrocute yourself, trying to fix a Neo Geo cabinet. So for fun, by the way, there's no point to do it. So, I don't know. We definitely do a lot. And we definitely, it's fun doing stuff every day. But, they're long days. Like, they're, like 10 to 10, 12 hours a day just getting stuff done. And I know you guys are the same way. There's a lot of fun, a lot of breaks, a lot of doing things, a lot of meetings, doing lovely podcasts like this. I guess that's considered work, I guess. I don't know.
But it's hard with those events, though, because you say 10 to 10, but it's very easy to take opportunities to make it from like 10 to 3 a.m. If you want to push it into the nightlife with the people who you don't see very often, and it's good to have fun with them, go out. You can absolutely do that.
Yeah, so you can use you can go to your browser and you can type isjustininthehottub.com and it'll tell you if I'm currently in or not in a hot tub, because usually that's where I end up at a hotel after a long day at a con, and that's how a lot of people find me, because someone made it as a joke, and now it's an active thing. I don't know how it works, but as soon as I step in a hot tub, it goes on. You can check it, just go to Is Justin in the Hot Tub. It's linked off my Twitter, but
have you been to a hot tub convention?
Yes. Well, something I used to do when I was doing the Silvermania show is much like the Eric Andre kind of whatever type, another type Joe Goes videos, we would go to like, reptile conventions and hot tub conventions or golf shows or brony cons and stuff and just fuck with people. So we were kind of dicks, but it was funny. So we did that for a while, but now I just do it mostly.
I remember that. I remember watching some of those videos. Did you ever have any really like harrowing or scary encounters going to conventions and just kind of messing with people there?
I've gotten real drunk and just like shown up, like they'd be like, "Dude, you didn't know what you did, man. It's such a mess." I'd like have like a fire extinguisher with me in some room, and I've had a lot of fun at a lot of conventions, but I've kind of calmed down a lot, so that's good too. But I know a lot of conventions now, like KatsuCon, which is an anime con in DC, they destroy that hotel. Absolutely. So,
God, you would think that the hotel wouldn't have them back. Or do they just change hotels?
No, they probably make so much money, and it's at a time of year where they don't care.
They don't care.
Because what's a few broken exit signs when they're charging $500 a room night?
Yeah, that's crazy. When we first started on the convention talk, you mentioned volunteering and then that turning into like a staff position. Is that something that you think like other people could learn from? Like if they're really into some sort of convention or some sort of scene to volunteer for a
conventions
few years?
And that stuff kind of have their own pools of drama and all that kind of stuff. So maybe not. It might be good just to like hang out, but a lot of those places are just going to use you forever as a permanent volunteer, or you'll show your colors and the place might be good and then they'll promote you and then you can do that. I know a lot of people that have been lifers at a lot of conventions, or they just go just so they can have a badge for the weekend. It depends what the convention offers. Some cons do it good, some cons do it bad. Some cons are like PAX, where they have their enforcers and it's like a whole thing. Like they're almost like a military brigade, but they have fun doing that. Sometimes it's your small local anime con at your college. A lot of those have cropped up in the last few years. So it really depends. I wouldn't much like, I think there's a disconnect in wanting to be a part of what you enjoy to the point of giving your time to it. Like, oh, I like anime, so I'll start going to anime cons. Oh, I like that, I'm going to start working there. This should be my job. And if that doesn't happen, it's going to be a problem. Or I want to be a big YouTuber and, oh, I'm doing it, but it's not doing well. These other guys are doing well. And maybe I'll edit for this guy. Oh, I hate him now. Like there's a lot of that can happen where you just kind of, maybe you should have got that engineering degree. So I usually discourage at panels. We do a lot of panels. And at Rutgers, I was a film professor as well for a while, a couple seasons there. When they needed part-time help. So I was like, yeah, I'll come back and do that. And I went to school there. And a lot of people ask me like, hey, how do you think I should do that? I'm like, nah, it's tough. And a lot of it's dumb luck. And a lot of it's not fun. And at the end of the day, you're me. And you don't want to do that. Like a lot of creators have fun. I have a lot of fun with a lot of people I know. And probably some people listening to this know me. And they're like, oh, shut the hell up already. So there's a lot of that. But you basically think don't follow your passion because that will end up going badly for you. So instead, I would say I wouldn't say that so much as following your passion sometimes leads to a lot of risk. And I think there's something. I think I'm trying to ride this fine line between like for example, let's say you wanted to be that astronaut and you strive and you go to school and that you're going to learn and do a lot of discernible skills that are going to get you into something that's productive and that makes you happy and you do, even though you're not an astronaut, but struggling every day to try and be a YouTuber and learning skills that might not work other places. I don't know, maybe, or especially with conventions, like what are you going to do with that outside? Like it's good for friends and all that other kind of stuff, but what's the next stage? And I wouldn't discredit it's great if you're passionate and do it, but just by being there and showing up, I don't know if that's enough. I guess I'll put it like that.
Yeah, it reminds me.
I do think there.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Matt.
go on. Oh, we've reached that. It's the little dance you do, like when you're walking somebody in a hallway and one goes left, one goes right, and you just match up. The
Yeah.
indecisa jig. It's dancing the
Yeah.
indecisa jig because nobody can figure out what to do. We just had that. I do think there are a lot of roles though that people don't realize exist. So you went into a bunch of different things that you've done with various companies, right?
Yes.
You can be YouTube adjacent without being some on-camera 4 times a week guy. And I wish more of the newer and smaller YouTubers would realize that, I mean, you can be me too. Like working with somebody like Kevin.
You need to make videos that you're passionate about, either making or things you're talking about or otherwise. You can't just be like, I'm a person that exists. I'll just film myself and it'll all work out. I'll be a vlogger. Because that's the thing that I think a lot of the younger crowd sees. Like, I'm just going to play games because that works for this guy, or I'm just going to film myself because I'm attractive. That's not me, by the way. So I think it really depends. It's all mindset, because of course there's millions of people that want to become doctors every year that don't. I went to school for pre-med, so here I am. So it's like that.
Yeah, but we don't hear the stories like, Matt is talking about the YouTube adjacent people. And I think this is a really important time to tell those stories. And that was why I was so excited to bring you on, because I know that you've had so many roles over the years in this industry. Yeah. But I think that it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of the amount of people who will be working on YouTube channels. I mean, I did a collaboration with a channel called Donut Media last year, which is
the auto stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. They do car videos. Mm-hmm. It is a gigantic team. I mean, this is not like a little YouTube outfit.
I think like 10 people I know from Maker or other places went over there, and they're doing very well. So
they're doing great. They all seem to really enjoy the work that they're doing. The videos that they make are beautiful. Like, they're really, really high production.
The problem is now YouTube's turning, like, these companies are turning into things like working YouTube adjacent. Like, you might be the, administrative assistant that works for one of these people, or you might be an editor, or you might be, a PA, or you might be like they're almost like little film studios in that regard. And I think we're at a stage where it's almost like the conversation we're having right now is like, hey, just because you tried and couldn't be a movie star on screen, you could operate the camera. You could, you might be the gaffer or the light guy, or you might bring the coffees to so-and-so, or you might, so it's weird.
I wouldn't put it that way. I would put it this way. When I was coming up trying to be a YouTuber, I was deep frying chicken wings 5 days a week. Okay. Right. And then I was doing YouTube afterwards. Now it seems like there's so much opportunity to actually work on YouTube channels, editing videos, or even just getting coffee or whatever. And you're learning through osmosis and through hands-on actual experience while you can still try to build your YouTube channel.
I think there are jobs like that and doing that, but a lot of people get burned out, or they don't. I think there's a lot of struggle of that too. But I guess in any corporate setting, trying to climb the ladder and being the intern to trying to be the CEO, I guess just how it is. It's you said, like, what do you do when, like, is that a real job? Like, what do you do? It's like, yeah. And if anything, it's more real, because you see where, it can go, very easily just by looking around the same platform,
The people who have worked in this kind of stuff for a sufficient amount of time, in my opinion, tend to have a much better understanding of the broad things that go on in a business than so many of the entrepreneurial circles that I was in years ago. And you just get exposed to everything. Like, it was perfectly natural for you to bring up a very specific problem with taxes. You've seen that because you kind of can't avoid it. And so what I like about all of these places, they're all relatively small shops. Whether it's even when we talk about the companies, they're not that big, and you just plain get a taste of everything. It may not be your job, but you're watching it go on in the next room, and you're hearing about it when you talk to the other 9 people who work there. And I think there's a weird kind of value in that exposure, that if you hang around long enough, you have a really good sense of what you could do next. Like, I think that in a strange way, a lot of the online production people are better positioned to open any kind of business at all if they decide they don't want to do media anymore.
Yeah, but I guess for that to work, is you can't just be a fan. You have to be involved. You have to be engaged and not passive. So, because at the end of the day, it is a very, you're working for the consumer, and the consumers are people watching your videos and doing stuff. So you kind of have to be on the other side of that. And it's kind of hard being a random person who just watches YouTube videos somewhere to then figure out how to be a YouTuber. But I can probably go to LA and get a job doing a YouTube thing quicker than I can go be a movie guy, or, so yeah, I guess you build up those skill sets, and there's a lot of hard skills you can learn, like editing or audio stuff that you guys, are taking a part of currently or whatever. But there's so many soft skills you need to learn for this kind of thing, and people skills and kind of mitigating problems and not freaking out and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of that too, aside from learning the tax code.
Yeah, the mitigating
those are all very
problems
transferable skills.
Yeah, the mitigating problems thing, I think, Matt, is one of the biggest transferable things that you uniquely get in YouTube, because everything that you make and you upload is subject to the rest of the world tearing you down for. And there are not a lot of sectors in which that's ever going to be the case. I mean, at worst, you create a thing in some business and like the board members get mad, I guess. Or if you're at like such a scale where you have like stockholders you're beholden to, but that's all internal. It's not like public facing for the most part, right? Where all of a sudden everyone is just ripping you apart or making like drama videos about how much you suck. And now like a million other people are like watching it and talking about how much you suck. Like that's a pretty unique place to be.
There's a lot of people that say I suck. Many. But, but I get to talk to you guys, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, but I think in terms of those kind of, the last few statements we make, at least at Screenwave with Too Many Games, every person, much like the Marines, everyone's a rifleman. So it doesn't matter how high you are in the company, you're in the dirt, you're moving the boxes, you're shipping stuff out, you're doing this or that. You just have to do what needs to get done. So it gets done. And people on the outside just have to see that, oh, look, those guys did all that cool stuff. They don't have to know how it happened or why it happened or whatever. And that's kind of how it works at this stage. So
before we wrap up, I want to ask about your Gengar collection. Is that how you pronounce it? I am so not a Pokemon guy, so I don't know. Is it Gengar?
Yeah, Gengar. Yeah, he's the purple ghost Pokemon. Yeah. Okay,
so you have what I'm assuming is the world's largest Gengar collection?
Probably, yeah. There's a couple other people that I've talked to over the years, but they've bowed out.
I like how matter-of-factly you confirm that. Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm currently sitting
world's largest Gengar collection.
Behind, next to both of them. I mean, I can send you some pics. I mean, it's grown I had the world's largest Steven Seagal collection, which I had over here, but I had to replace it with more Gengar, so I need to move that somewhere else. But that started in irony. The Gengar stuff I actually like. And I played competitive Pokemon for a while, because I grew up with it and, got into it more when I was doing the YouTube stuff. So when we met Stuart Zagnan, who did the voice actor Professor Oak from the original animated series, we had him dress up as him and we had him do all that stuff. So I just got more and more into it. And then doing the convention stuff, then I'm just playing Pokemon with everybody. So, and with the new games coming out, I played through that, have a team and all that. But, I don't have the time to compete anymore. But, I just have fun with it. And I just like collecting my little purple crap.
So wait, we have, in our Discord, the image of Steven Seagal eating the carrot. Mm-hmm. is a custom emoji that I use all the time in our Discord. Mm-hmm. So we have a Steven Seagal connection here. What in the world did the world's largest Steven Seagal collection consist of, aside from movie posters? What else is there?
I called it the Wall of Seagal, and it was I have it all boxed now because I'm going to put it on the rental review set. I have a peg, a peg wall where I'm going to put all the stuff so it looks like you can buy it in a store for for the sets that we have that looks like a rental store. It's every movie on every format, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, HD DVD, Laserdisc, 16mm film, all that kind of stuff. I don't have too many posters, even though I do come from a poster, thing. I just hung up a Final Fantasy Spirits Within poster, the Matrix Hollow poster, so it looks like the letters are falling, Street Fighter the movie. So I have a lot of that in the office now. This is now we're into my hobbies, which is bad. Let's see what else I have. I have something from the Celebrity Guide to Wine to stuff that A&E would send out for his TV show, Lawman or whatever it was. Where they would send it in a bulletproof vest looking thing, the DVD would hide in there. I have the most cans of Steven Seagal energy drink when he made that in 2003. And on Rental Reviews, we're having theme months right now for our reviews, and in March, it's Martial Arts Month. Martial Arts. And because right now we're in February, we're all doing Jim Carrey movies, so next month is March, because I review films on Friday on Cinemassacre, and the last episode of the month, which I believe is on March 27th, Friday, which is also my birthday. Go me. I'm going to drink one of the cans of the energy drink that's 15 years old.
Nice.
It's Cherry Charge. They came in Cherry Charge and Asian Experience. They never released root beer. Asian Experience's film had goji berries in it, and they said Steven Seagal went through the mountainside and picked them to put them in the drink. There's a great commercial of it. Steven Seagal is like the best meme, I guess, like hanging out with Vladimir Putin and eating carrots and being a general scumbag. And I took the collection down too because people are like, "Hey, stuff's gonna come out about him eventually, and you're not gonna want all that. I know it's a joke, and I know you've been following action movie stuff because his first 5 movies are good, from Above the Law, Out for Justice, Mark for Death,
Under Siege.
Under Siege is number 5, and Hard to Kill, which started as 7 Year Storm, which I have the crew jacket for. So a lot of that stuff. He has a pocket knife. He has music albums. He sings the blues, which isn't bad, actually. He has a huge vintage guitar collection, one of the largest, actually, with all the money he has. Just a bunch of other crap. A bobblehead, just a lot of stuff. It only fits in 2 totes. It's the largest collection in terms of no one else has it. It's not like I did a lot. The Gengar stuff I have, that is a mess. That's a problem. Like, I'm looking at him right now. But the Seagal stuff is, I doubt he has that much stuff. He doesn't care.
Other than the man himself, you might be the best positioned person who's ever lived to answer the question that I'm about to ask you.
Sure.
What is the essence of a man?
Is that the
have you
Seagal
seen that,
question?
Kevin? Yeah. Have you seen that? Which movie is it where he's like against the oil company or something and has the bar fight?
Yeah. It's the one where he's in Alaska with the.
I think so. He's vaguely native.
Yeah.
What is the essence of a man? On Deadly Ground.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That came out 94, I think. That's when they started getting bad. After Under Siege, you can see the rise and fall of Steven Seagal's popularity with the rise and fall of home video compared to things not coming in the movie, especially on DVD, because as soon as DVDs came out, there was like 2 a year. And they're really bad. Like, he started just doing like Die Hard in a submarine, and it's called Submerged, and it's terrible because Die Hard on a battleship is Under Siege, basically.
Oh, right.
He was just in so many bad movies, and now he doesn't even act in them. Like, they'll shoot green screen of in one movie and then put it in another. Like, they just pump those out. He's terrible. I might be better at martial arts than him. I will burn that bridge with Steven Seagal. I'd love to meet him, get a signed autograph. That'd be great. I have a Steven Seagal stamp from the great nation of Estonia. Gave him a stamp. I don't know why, but I don't know. I just got.
A postal stamp. I thought you meant like a rubber stamp to stamp Steven Seagal.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah,
like it's like this net. Yeah, they like stamp the back of it. Yeah.
Okay, so really, really quick, because I have to tell you this. I have a Steven Seagal story, and then we got to go.
Sure.
So, my father's business partner was at a house party at Steven Seagal's house, many years ago
in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, sure. I don't know where it was. So they're at the dinner party. Everybody's having a good time. Whatever. All of a sudden, Steven Seagal is like, "Shh, hold on," and pulls out a handgun and leaves the party. Checks the perimeter for intruders, I guess, or like enemy combatants. And then comes back into the house, puts his gun away, and just resumes the party as if nothing happened.
Sounds like him.
That's a
That sounds like
100% true Steven Seagal story.
Yeah, I love that. Rob Schneider has a lot of good Steven Seagal stories that he does on like Howard Stern show and stuff. There's a lot of stories about the dude, and a lot of them are coming out that aren't that good. Where he's like, showing women his guns in hotel rooms and things like that. And I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah, I think Gengar is the safer collection to lean into for you.
I just got the Gengar skateboard from Bear Walker Skateboards. They only made 150 of them. I like it. I just seem to hang it up. But yeah, that's a lot more fun than dealing with that goddamn psychopath. I'm still gonna hang it up and drink the energy drink and hopefully die. I also have the unreleased video game. He made a video game called Steven Seagal, The Final Option.
Oh my gosh. The final option is drinking his energy drink. Listen,
what a way to go, though, if it does kill you.
That's what I'm thinking.
Go.
It's like, wow, that guy just dead. I'm like, hey, listen, that's just how it is. Like, my girlfriend's like, please don't do it. What if you die? I'm like, because that's how I live. It's the essence of a man.
That is the essence of a man.
We got to make sure, too, on the way out that we get the dates on Too Many Games so everybody knows when that's happening this year.
Sure. Let me go on the website because I forget. You just go to toomanygames.com. They do a bunch of satellite events in the year too, including a big one at the end of the year in December for charity. But our main show is this June 26th to the 28th at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, PA.
Well, there you go. Check that out. Check out Cinemassacre. 3 videos a week of great content. And dude, definitely take pictures of the Gengar collection so that we can share them on Patreon as well as in the Discord.
Yeah, I actually haven't posted new pics yet. I've been waiting to do that. So absolutely.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this, Justin. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Sorry for getting so bummed out there talking about YouTube and everything I have fun with every day. So, I'm just trying to cut the competition, as Master Seagal would say.
Yes. On that note, thanks, guys. See you, Space Cowboys.